famous Dubai-based chef Atul Kochhar has landed in a soup.
I think it was the darkest time of my life.
Well, the breaking news is about Dubai's JW Marriott Marquis Hotel sacking chef Atul Kochhar.
We were making followers of Islam look bad people all the time.
King for Marriott, Atul Kochhar now finding himself in the midst of this storm over the tweet that he put out.
It makes me feel very proud to say that it was my Muslim friends who helped me to come out of it.
Last year, Atul Kochhar, who is better known as the first Indian chef to be awarded a Michelin star, found himself embroiled in a Twitter storm after posting an Islamophobic tweet in response to Bollywood superstar Priyanka Chopra and her US TV series Quantico. Despite deleting the offending post and later apologizing, the damage had already been done. Feed the Line caught up with Atul Kochhar to find out why he's called this past year the darkest of his life, the soul-searching he's done during this period, what forgiveness and redemption means for him, and what it's taken to move on from all this.
Given that forgiveness involves understanding not just why that person is sorry for what he or she has done, but why the mistake was committed in the first place. Can you recall why you tweeted what you did?
So I remember it clearly. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was cooking for my family, and I was a strong follower of Quantico, and I enjoyed watching it, and it was good fun. It was always good fighting against the bad, and so I quite enjoyed that. And Priyanka Chopra was a favorite actress. She still is. I respect her a lot, and I think she's a great actress. And I had not seen the episode, but I read and then I saw parts of it. So what came to my mind immediately was that we have grown up in a country, she and us as well, me as well, that where and across the globe we were making followers of Islam look bad people all the time. And didn't we had enough of it? And I always felt guilty about it and felt bad about it. I said, do you need another breed of bad guys to come in that you're showing Hindus now? Those were the thoughts in my mind. And the way I wanted to write is that we have suffered through invasions, and I wanted to continue to write about it. And I think what I wrote was not what I was going to write, and it just happened, and I didn't realize it that I have written that. And I thought, no, I'll come back to it and do it later. And as I was cooking, my son came along and said, Dad, is my lunch ready? And I said, yeah, sure, son. And I kept the phone, and I didn't realize my hand went onto the send. So if you read the tweet, it doesn't sound like complete tweet also. I said, shame on you, and I thought I'll come back. I always take double precaution in writing what I write. I don't write off the cuff, ever. And I didn't realize that it was already sent. About 4 hours later, I came to know that I had sent that tweet.
How did you come to know?
A friend of mine called, and he said, do you know what you've done, Atul? You have just created a catastrophic mistake. It's not you and what you have done. You have to get back and correct it. And I immediately started trying to correct it. By biggest mistake I made, I deleted it, which I shouldn't have. I should have said, guys, I have done this and I'm really sorry. This is not what I meant. This is what I meant. But in panic and haste, you just go through so much. And by that time, all the abuse had started, and I was panicking, reading all that as well. And if you have been a person who has never been involved in any of this, you feel very cornered, you feel very much vulnerable, and you don't know what to do, and you look for answers and you look for support. And I think that's what exactly was my reaction, and I was trying to say that it's not me, I've never done anything like this, and I'm extremely sorry. It took some time for me to react to it because I didn't know how to react, and I didn't know what to write. And I didn't know whatever I write, how it'll come back. Whatever I wrote, people were still abusing me. And it has never happened with me before because I'm a God-fearing man. I grew up in a very secular home, very secular society. My parents didn't tell me till in my teens that we were Hindus. Because ethos of my home was we celebrate everything. I grew up not very far from Lucknow, in a place called Shahjahanpur. Best of my friends are Muslims. I would say they are my family, to be honest. I felt very ashamed that something has gone out of my hand, which I would be answerable to for a very long time to come. And how I'm going to face them was another thing on my mind constantly. While growing up in India, as I said, Shahjahanpur, when I packed up my bag and got dressed to go to school, and there was a rickshaw puller who will take me to school, I saw little boys from surrounding areas. They were from Muslim community, would pack their tools and go to work in workshops because their folks couldn't afford education. And I often questioned that because my mother was a teacher and my dad had a small catering business. So I always questioned my parents that why that happens. And they said, son, it's sad, but one day when you grow up, if you can do something about it, do something about it. Unfortunately, we have little means and we can only educate you and not anybody else at the moment. And I always thought that once I reach that stage, I'll do something about it. And I remember my dad's words, and he always said, you cannot change the world for everyone, but perhaps for one person you can. So that remained with me. So when I moved to United Kingdom, I thought I was earning really well compared to India, what I had. And first thought was I want to get back and help little people. I've always been very passionate about children. I want them to have good education, want them to have good childhood, because I always believe that if you grew up well, if you were given good strength, if you're given good home, good love, you will grow up to be a good human. And that's been my biggest worry. So wherever there is unrest in the world, the war breaks, my first thought is always towards the children, that are we making another generation of war children, which will be unfair. So going back to my story, I came here and I immediately got in touch with one of the charities and said I would like to adopt a child just to support him for his education. Not adopt as become his father, but to support him financially so that he can have better education. And over 20 odd years I've lived here, I've supported several, and I feel very proud about it. And charity was quite amazed when I specifically asked for Muslim children, because I knew that in most of the downtrodden parts of India, it's the Muslim children who didn't get to the education very easily. Somehow it was always in my heart that if we educate children well, we'll have better understanding among the community, we'll have better love. And if I could change one child's life, I'll feel privileged. And doing all that and coming up and throwing that tweet out, I didn't even feel silly but terrible as well that it has happened through my hands. I was depressed for many months to come. It took a long time for me to come out of it, to be honest. And it's only in August when I went down to Goa with my family. I just wanted to hide away from everyone and just wanted to go and have some peaceful time. My kids had suffered a lot because of my tweet, and I felt incredibly bad about it.
Let's just go back to the point at which your family came to know about this. Talk us through that, because you mentioned how your kids suffered terribly.
Yeah.
Talk us through the initial period where your family came to know about this and how they reacted, how they supported you, how you supported them.
So my kids are teenagers. They're just the teenagers. And I told them immediately. I didn't hide. I just told them immediately that has happened, and they were all shocked. And my son, who was not even teen that time, he said, "Dad, my blood is frozen," thinking that what has gone out of your hand, you're not that kind of person, and you may have to suffer a lot. I said, it could be that, son. And I could see the fear on his face, and I didn't enjoy that. And I know he went to school, and those incidents I don't want to report, but things were not pretty for the both of them. And I kept my son away from school for quite some time. In spite of assurance from the headmaster and everything, I kept him away. I said, just stay home for a couple of weeks.
So there was some backlash from the children at school, or?
Hamza, honestly, I don't want to repeat it because it just brings bad memory. I just want to say that those little souls didn't need to suffer, but they did. My daughter is strong. She saw her way through. She didn't have any trouble. But my son is mild and good-mannered child, so he kind of took a little bit of brunt. But the best thing I could do is not send him to school for some time and then make peace with the world and then go back. And that's what exactly happened. Often in such cases, what now I have realized that, yeah, there are people who will attack you senselessly, but there are millions of people who love you for who you are, what you have done to the world. So in spite of this stupid mistake, I got amazing amount of support from people saying that mistakes do happen. You will recover. Things will be fine again. That time I didn't believe anybody. Sitting here today, I can tell you, yes, it's all true. Forgiveness came. People picked up phones, spoke to me and supported me. Yeah, there were people who took advantage of my situation also, which was very sad.
In what way?
My business. Somebody saw opportunity to throw me out of my business. Yeah. Somebody thought, okay, he's better known chef. If I lynch upon him, I'll get a little better known. So a lot of people took lots of advantages there. Some people just went into the shell; they didn't know how to react. So it was really tough time. I felt lonely, but whenever I needed help and I called a few friends, they were always there. So depressing time I have led, to be honest, and it was. I think it was the darkest time of my life.
Your friends, how did they react? Particularly your Muslim friends that you have. How did they react to this? What type of advice did they give you, particularly from not just a human point of view, but a religious point of view?
So I have a very good friend who's a preacher, and he lives in Dubai. And I've known him for a very long time. And I immediately got in touch with him. He had seen it by then. He said, Atul, when I read it, I know it's not you. It has happened. There is always forgiveness from the Supreme Almighty. So if you've asked for forgiveness, that's what you'll get. And you have to be truthful. You have to say it from your heart that you want that, and that's what you will get. And honestly, I'm not that kind of person, and I wasn't going to say anything to anybody like that. Never mind a great religion like Islam. I'll never say anybody in person about a person, to be honest. My reputation is such that I'm always a humble guy, always a nice guy. I have supported and helped anybody who has always come to me, knocked on my door. I've gone out of my way to help people. And that's what I was always going to do. So he was a big support. I only call him Mr. Mo. So Mr. Mo was always there throughout. In fact, he was fighting with people on Twitter, and when I saw that it was just too tiring, I told him, please let go. Let people take out their anger, and time will come when they will realize that I made a mistake. I'm a human. I've asked for forgiveness. At the end of the day, I'm not an expert on either religion or culture. I'm a chef. I made a very silly mistake, very stupid mistake. I got involved in a brawl which was not even mine, and I had no reason to. I just got a little emotional that time, and I've made a mistake, and I put my hands up and I've said sorry guys. I'll do everything possible to make amend on this, but it doesn't changes me as a human, because humanity is the only thing I know. That's the only religion I understand. And if I've hurted your feelings, other than saying sorry and trying to make up to you, at the moment I don't have anything to offer.
So you decided to get away from it all, take a break, take your family away, and you went to India for a period?
That's right.
Talk us through that. Tell us about the soul searching that you did, how you used that time to get over the depression that you mentioned, and the sadness and the ramifications of it all.
So I went away to go, and it's a monsoon time, so nobody is there, to be honest. I think we were the only couple of families in the hotel where we stayed. It was a really, truly soul-searching time, because it helped me to... for the first time after a long time in my life, I actually sat down and thought what I have done right, what I have done wrong in my life. And lots of things, just not that tweet, but lots of other things as well. And how I can get back, how can I can go back to the correct path and be the human I want to be, or I have been. And I spoke to a lot of people, I read lots of things, did a lot of talking with my kids, with my wife, who's I think quite a superior lady when it comes to understanding about the world. So she was my strength, still my strength. My kids were my strength. I only came out of it, Hamza, because I had family on my side. I had friends on my side. And it makes me feel very proud to say that it was my Muslim friends who helped me to come out of it. Sorry, guys.
So you've mentioned that despite all your apologies, you've encountered those who, no matter how much you do try and apologize, they're not willing to listen. They're not willing to forgive. What would you say to such people if you had one last try at reaching them?
Well, I'll say sorry again. I don't know what will make them happy. Now what I know after making that mistake is there are more good people in the world than the bad people, and that's a big positive I've learned out of it. And I don't know what will make them happy, but I'm trying to forget the past and move on and be the person I was, and work with the world. I've always done this, working with my food, working with my cuisine, working with my culture, working with my charities, working with the passionate ethos I have. So I'll continue to be who I am, and hopefully in time they will see that I'm a genuine human. I made a mistake, I've asked for forgiveness, and I want to move on, and so would they.
What does forgiveness mean for you?
It's the acceptance. It's also understanding that we humans were not programmed to be perfect. God made everybody equal. Everybody have their own thought process, and not everybody can do everything in life. Also, if you have made a mistake and you were quick enough and you understand that what you have done, if the person has understood it, his or her mistake, and asking for forgiveness, I think saying, yes, I forgive you and let's move on, I think the person who's forgiving becomes a lot bigger, in my opinion, in the relation. So that's forgiveness for me. I think it's the humility, it's the love for ourselves, love for the humanity. Also, love for Allah, love for God. That's forgiveness for me.
But they say that social media is like a double-edged sword. It can work for you or it can work against you. Have your perceptions of social media changed during that time?
I've always used social media for promoting my food, not anything else. And I think this one time in my life I've slipped and I felt very terrible about it. So I've learned that, right, my social media is only for my family and for my food, and I'll not talk about anything else. Sometimes I used to rant about cricket also. I have given up that too. I passionately love cricket, but being an Indian, what else you can do? But I decided not to say anything about cricket also, because I don't know what will come out of it, because I've suffered so much. Am I scared of social media? No, I'm not. But I'm careful with it. So I reiterate your words. Yes, it's a double-edged sword. You got to be very careful with it.
How has all this changed you as a person, do you think? After all this, how have you come out at the end of it?
Look, to go down and then go up is a good feeling. So going down was a terrible feeling. Coming back was a good feeling. So somebody saw opportunity to wash me off my hard-earned money and hard-earned business. It actually put me more in the dark corner. I didn't know where to go, what to do. But out of nowhere, people appeared and said, we are here for you. We'll help you. To sit here today, that it's my own restaurant, and 18 years I worked in one place trying to expand, but could never expand. And some people just come and put enough money on the table to say, you know what, we believe you, you're a good human, and we've always admired what you have done. There's still a lot in you to give to this world. Come and work with us. And let's not open one, let's open 2 restaurants. So that meant a lot to me. So I think I had to go down to come up. That's what it is. I think Allah meant it like that, God meant it like that, Waheguru meant it like that.
Atul Kochhar, thanks for joining Feed the Line. Thank you for your time.